congratulations on your award. Were you surprised? Were you expecting this? And how do you feel?
The word I would use is shocked. I was shocked and so very honored. A real feather in my cap, if you will, a real affirmation that maybe what I've done makes some kind of difference. I think if you reach a certain age, you look back and you say, did I do anything important?
Dear ASV Nominations Committee, we, the undersigned, would like to nominate Janet M. Scarlett, DVM, MPH, PhD, for the 2021 ASV Meritorious Service Award. Dr. Jan Scarlett has been working in the field of shelter medicine for almost 30 years, long before shelter medicine was a thing.
When I went to school, I graduated in 1972, and we were taught in veterinary college, never send a client to an animal shelter because you'll get a sick animal. And if you think back, it probably was not an inaccurate recommendation at that time, because distemper in dogs, panleukopenia in cats, Giardia, you name it, there was very little veterinary care being directed to animals in the shelters at that time. Going back, when I first got interested in shelter medicine, I was literally mid-career for me, but I was asked to help consult on an epidemiology study of the reasons for relinquishment.
Dr. Scarlett's body of research demonstrates her curiosity. Published steadily over 4 decades, her work includes over 100 scholarly journal articles, dozens of book chapters, and the original ASV spay-neuter guidelines. The subjects of her research are wide-ranging. Early work investigated pet food safety, feline leukemia tests, risk factors for feline hyperthyroidism, and resorptive lesions. She moved on to trickier questions, such as why animals are relinquished to shelters and how spay-neuter clinics impact shelter intake, URI and parvo, and aggression in shelter animals.
So I worked on relinquishment. We worked on some of the URI and what put cats at high risk of upper respiratory tract infections. A colleague and I did some of the early research on field trials of the feline leukemia vaccine. And that research was actually done in a sanctuary in upstate New York here.
With Dr. Lila Miller of the ASPCA, she taught the first ever didactic course in shelter medicine offered to veterinary students, a feat recognized in the Shelter Medicine for Veterinarians and Staff textbook.
Shelters, what's happening to shelter animals, welfare of animals in shelters, whole area that was not at all addressed in the curriculum. Geez, I'd really like to do a class, but I could talk about things theoretically, but I can't. I've never worked in a shelter. With the blessing of the ASPCA, Dr. Miller and I offered the first didactic class in 1999. And if you think back to 1999, first of all, there were no shelter medicine programs in any of the veterinary schools. I think I'm fairly certain that there were programs using animals in shelters for spay-neuter training of veterinary students, but no formal training in what it meant to be a shelter medicine veterinarian and the diseases and issues that veterinarians faced in shelters.
As one of very few veterinary epidemiologists with a companion animal population interest, she has led the field in training shelter medicine veterinarians to make data-driven decisions and to collect and share population, shelter, and community health metrics.
Euthanasia was the principal tool that was used to control disease and to control overcrowding in the shelters. We probably had a really good length of stay, but not because we were doing a good job of managing animals and bringing them out alive, but rather because we were euthanizing them. There have just been so many changes.
Her collaborations span continents, including everyone from undergraduates to pillars of animal welfare, such as Margaret Slater and Emily Weiss, epidemiology, like Philip Cass and Mo Salmon, and shelter medicine, Linda Lord, Julie Levy, just to name a few.
Who were some of the standout people that you've worked with over the years?
I have to first and foremost put Dr. Lila Miller at the top, but I've enjoyed working with Dr. Sarah White, with Dr. Julie Dinage, with Dr. Julie Levy, and then my graduate students, Dr. Margaret Slater, Dr. Vic Spain. I worked with several of the people at the ASPCA, Steve Zaustowski, And of course, more recently, I've worked with my colleagues at Cornell, with Dr. Lena DeTar and Dr. Elizabeth Berliner. So those are the names that come to mind immediately.
She founded the Maddie Shelter Medicine Program at Cornell in 2005, creating one of the first comprehensive shelter medicine programs in the country. She has mentored numerous veterinary students, shelter medicine interns, residents, PhD students, and junior faculty over the last 2 decades.
I feel like I laid the foundation for my colleagues now to build on and to grow and to expand and offer training for our veterinary students, for our interns, for doing research and their own research, and for offering all of the services in outreach that they do, not only to our local shelter, but also for all of the shelters they're reaching out to all over the country. So how could I not be so honored by such a group of people?